then. So this is a clip from an Israeli podcast host, and I'm just going to let the clip speak for itself. I don't need to really do a little preamble here.
So I would, if you gave me a button to just erase Gaza, every single living being in Gaza would no longer be living tomorrow, I would press it in a second. That's just, I think most Israelis,
if that's the choice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, even if it's not like right now.
Yeah, no.
I would press it right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the same with the territories.
I would press it right now.
Mm-hmm.
No choice. No, Sharon is safe at home. God willing. I don't know. I haven't spoken to her in like an hour.
No, I'm saying for the chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would press it right now. Give me that button and press it right now.
There you go.
And I think most Israelis would.
Yeah. Most Jewish Israelis.
They wouldn't post. They wouldn't talk about it like I am.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't post. They wouldn't say I pressed it.
Yeah.
But they would.
They don't have balls of steel like you.
They would, but they would press it, right? Like if they were in a closet alone, they wouldn't even hesitate.
Mm-hmm.
Someone came to them and Hadar said, "No one will know. You press this, all the Palestinians are gone." You'd be like, "Fucking hey, is there another one?" So
Wow.
Oh, John just came back. Oh, John, did you catch that video?
Yes, I did. I know exactly what video you're talking about.
Okay, well, we're gonna get Brandon's reaction first, since I don't think you'd seen it. Yeah, good, bad, indifferent. Like, what do we think about this, folks?
Man, I don't know what to say to that, honestly. It just goes to show that people will literally say anything, and I don't really have words for that. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, John, your thoughts on it?
It was so funny to me the way he talks, because he genuinely talks like every other fucking conservative nutjob. Like, you obviously this is a particularly bad issue, right? Like, we're talking genocide.
Yeah.
But you hear him talk, it's the same fucking words that you hear like TERFs say, where it's like, I actually don't know the exact words you just played, but I'm assuming it's the same clip that I saw, where he's like, yeah, no, I would press that button in a heartbeat. Yep. And I know deep down, every single other Israeli would also press that button in a heartbeat. And it's like, the only way they can justify their clearly horrific inner desires is to just assume that everyone else believes that what they do, and they're just too afraid to say it. You can say this about Israel and Palestine. You can say this about trans people. You can say this about gay people. You can say this about poor people, the homeless, whatever you want to say. There's so many times where you hear conservatives say this, where it's like, yeah, no, obviously everyone would be okay with just sending all of the homeless people to jail, but a lot of people just don't think that's polite to say. But if they in a dark room and no one knew, they'd hit that button. No, they fucking wouldn't. No, they wouldn't, because they have basic human empathy. You can't understand that because you don't, and so you just assume that they must just be lying, but they're not. Most people, actually, newsflash, guys, wouldn't kill millions of people indiscriminately just because of their nationality. Crazy, I know, but that is the truth of the situation.
John, that is an excellent point. That is so good, because that is what conservatives say all the time. They say, like, I'm just saying what you don't have the courage to say. Deep down, I'm right about, marginalized group X, that, they're a problem and everything. That is an excellent point, because the callous and dismissive way he says it, like, yeah. And like he's like, I think this and everyone else thinks it too, but you put them in a dark room where no one would know, they would all commit a mass genocide just like me, right? Right, fellas? Right? We all in on this? And it's wearing it like a badge of honor too. Like, everyone thinks that I'm just brave enough to say it. It's like, nah, man, you are just a psychopath. Like, that is just kind of fucked up. And that's kind of a hyper version of what we see a lot with conservative media.
Yeah.
Ben says it's like racist assuming everyone else is racist or biased toward their own race. Oh my God, I see that all the time, where they're just like, oh, you too would also want to see white people thrive. It's like, no, the fuck I wouldn't. Like, what are you talking about? It's everything, TJ. Every single conservative talking point boils down to that guy hitting the genocide button.
Yeah, and I think a lot of conservatives watch stuff like that, and they live vicariously through people like that. Mm-hmm. Back with when the whole thing with Kyle Rittenhouse happened, I was working in this little small factory at the time with like maybe 6 or 7 people in my room, And it was like the attitude toward it was like, he did what we had been set back on the couch wanting to do. That's pretty much the way they responded to that. And I think a lot of them, they cling to people like that. And those kind of answers, going back to what I said earlier about them just loving the cruelty and being all about it, I think they live vicariously through people like that. I really do.
I think Kyle Rittenhouse is the absolute best example of that. I remember making a video a while ago, and you know how you have like your Turning Point USA and CPAC venues and everything, where it's just essentially professional wrestling. They have all the dog and pony show and the pageantry and stagecraft associated with it. Yeah. And I saw one, and they just had the confetti, they had the fween, and they had the lights flashing and everything. And they just started chanting Kyle Rittenhouse. And then he came out, on stage like he was Hulk Hogan in 1989 or something. And I sat there and thought, there is one reason that man is famous. It's because he killed 2 people. Like that's it. Now, listen, if you want to be as charitable as possible with Kyle Rittenhouse and say, listen, I looked at the footage and I looked at the situation, and I think Kyle Rittenhouse did have the legal right to shoot those people in self-defense. Look, if they just said that, like if that was the conservative position, I'd be like, okay, all right. I mean, look, a judge agreed with you and the jury agreed with you. If that's your decision, fine. No, they don't stop there. It's like, not only do I believe he had the legal right to kill those people, I'm fucking glad he did it. I love it. I want people to do it more. I get hard thinking about it. I mean, they've made this kid into a celebrity, like a household name for positive reasons on their side. And they don't think about like the pathology of that and like what that says about the movement. Like I don't understand it. I really don't, because like if I did this, this is before I was even like made my full left turn. What was that guy's name? The American Sniper, Chris Kyle.
Chris Kyle.
Yeah, before I knew what a scumbag this guy was and everything. But it's like, man, I don't know if we really want to be celebrating someone whose claim to fame was having more sniping kills than anybody else. That's just feels kind of icky. And then it turns out he was even worse than we thought before. But yeah, the conservative movement, they love death more than we love life. It's a common thing with these folks.
It's absolutely true.
It's funny you said that, TJ, because I had the same reaction when watching American Sniper, where like it was before. Yeah, I was kind of just a normie liberal at the time.
Yeah,
but I was watching. I was just like, like I'm enjoying the performance. Like it's overall well directed, but there's just something deeply icky about celebrating this guy for killing a bunch of people. And then I found out later that he is just straight up a monster.
The worst.
It's funny how that often works out, isn't it?
Yeah, trust your suspicions on that. Were you going to say something, Brandon? I thought I cut you off there.
Oh, no, you're fine. I just think, it's so sad watching them cling to people like that. And that's the people they make out to be the heroes. And, like I said, with Rittenhouse, it's like they was sitting back. He did the thing that they all wanted to do.
Yes.
They were sitting back. That's what it was. And they can't, like you said, they can't stop right there. You could make the argument, okay, in that scenario, he had a right to defend himself. But I always go back to, when I saw him walking down the street with that weapon in his hand with surgical gloves on, the first thought that went through my head is that a black kid wouldn't have made it that far with that.
No.
You know what I mean? And that's what really leaped off the page at me watching it, while everyone else has watched it from the angle of, he went there to defend his town or, whatever. I'm like, no, not at all. It was, I'm looking at it from a different angle, thinking he would have never made it. The same thing I was thinking on January 6th when I watched them storm the Capitol. I'm just thinking if this was black people, it would be a completely different reaction.
It is. And that is the thing to kind of follow up on all of that is if Kyle Rittenhouse was someone worthy of praise, the reaction Kyle Rittenhouse would have been shame. Even if
true. Good point. Excellent point.
Even if you 100% believe that he was innocent. And you know what? I didn't fucking look at the legal case. Like it really, you guys know I don't like fucking going into legal shit. But like even if it's like, he was in that situation, had the legal right to defend himself. Cool. But that doesn't mean he was right to place himself in that situation. And someone who went through that experience, killed 2 people, who wouldn't be dead if not for his actions, and doesn't have any shame about that. That's not someone worth celebrating. And
Exactly.
like, it's a 17-year-old kid, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I think Kyle Rittenhouse himself is a victim in the entire saga, because these conservative talking points, these riots are burning down the cities, we got to defend these businesses and whatnot.
Mhm.
It caused a 17-year-old kid to take a gun, go into a very dangerous situation, and put himself in danger with the capacity to use lethal force to get himself out of it.
Yeah.
And that decision resulted in the death of 2 people. Now, our legal system isn't equipped to deal with that, nor do I think it necessarily should factor in such a the Pandora's box.
Delicious.
Pandora's box would be far too open if that was a crime. But
Yeah.
morally speaking, he should be ashamed of that. And
Yeah.
you shouldn't be happy that this happened. It should be this is terrible. This is a terrible tragedy. But you're right, TJ. They don't do that. They celebrate it. And it really shows they didn't learn their fucking lesson.
And I can't remember what it was that that one of the people that he killed was. I can't remember what they had on their rap sheet, what it was they had did. But I remember hearing people say, well, they deserved it. You know, they had that attitude. And I'm like, well, you're the same people that says all lives matter. It just proves that they really don't to you. You know?
Yeah, it was, the guy had a sexual assault charge.
Yeah.
They said, yeah, so he deserved to die. It's like, well, Kyle Rittenhouse didn't know that, and he didn't deserve to die. I mean, that's just like, yeah, it's nonsense.
If Kyle Rittenhouse did know that, it was definitely fucking murder.
Yeah, well, yeah, that would just definitely make him a murderer. That's a good point. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But yeah, it's I wanted to point this out too. So you guys remember Trayvon Martin years ago and everything. The guy who shot him, George Zimmerman, also a hero to the right wing. Do you guys remember this? When people met with George Zimmerman and had him signing Confederate flags and signing bags of Skittles. For those of you who don't remember, Trayvon Martin was carrying, he had gone to a gas station and picked up a bag of Skittles and I think an Arizona tea or something like that. And hilarious. They just think it's so funny. Oh my God. They make them heroes for killing people, whether justified or not. They love, like you said, they live vicariously. Man, I would love the chance to kill someone like that. Like they think that all the time, and it's dark and it's scary that we have to live in the same country with these folks. That you probably go to work or see these people every day. It always happens. It's just sad.